being on. Like at work, I'd be in the store and talking, blah, 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 and it was on in the background, and then that part would start, and I would just stop the conversation mid-word.
Yeah. We're live. The thing I would always do is anytime someone was like, "All right, here's the situation. My parents went away on a week's vacation."
Oh God, yeah.
Hey, what's up to our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the mother-loving geek nation? You're currently tuning into the chilling adventures of the CultPop Podcast Beyond Thunderdome, episode 28, a show where we talk about movies and TV and Ray Stevenson this night. Also, maybe etiquette on the internet and how to use it. We're coming to you live from our set, which is buried deep in the tumultuous heart of the Video Content Factory, a bomb-ass production space in Philly, PA. So if you ever need to bomb your ass, come here and they'll do it for you. I'm your industrious host, Johnny Destructo of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street, which is a rad comic shop for rad-ass folks like yourselves, and also these rad gentlemen, including
Brian Lieb.
And
our son, the voice of reason. What's the deal? Tina Turner, rest in peace.
Oh man. And
Len the Bat Tribble.
Oh fuck. And
I'm Noel.
Also in the booth is our intrepid producer, Dylon the Great.
Dylon.
There's only 3 of them. There's 2 more.
Dylon.
The Dylon 5,000.
Figured y'all get it.
Gotta be 5.
Figured y'all get it.
Gotta be 5.
Before we get into tonight's discussions, we'd like to thank all of you listeners for being here with us and in here with me. If you're watching live or checking it out later, please like, comment, subscribe, do all that nasty, dirty shit that you like to do on the YouTubes. Additionally, engage with us, so pipe up in the chat now, or email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com and tell us why you think we're so handsome. How about that?
My mama did it.
I'm gonna give it 3 years before there's a little black kid running around named Jamel.
Jamel. His email will be jamail@gmail.com.
I'm sure there's already one.
Yeah.
Hey, Dylan. How do we see the comments if they come up? Cool, you're working on it.
If not, I got to back up. It's fine.
We're going to issue my favorite segment, What You Been Up To This Week, Huh? And replace it with a special review. It's not a really review, a special discussion. How to be a good fan. Noel's thinking this might be a good thing to dip into every once in a while because we all live on the internet now, and not everyone is great there. Oh, he actually wrote that out. We're premiering a new segment we want to call How to Be a Good Fan. I really should pay more attention to these things.
Maybe just look at them before.
Yeah.
Once.
What? I did. But I don't have no memory. How to Be a Good Fan, where we discuss how we can support and treat one another in fandoms, ensuring that we all have a great time.
Okay. Before we get into this one, because this is actually very important, but I've had this discussion with lots of people. Worst fans, like who's the worst fans?
You derailed it before it started.
Oh wow. Nice.
Can I say like Hitler fans?
Oh, worst fandom.
Okay.
Right?
I mean, like, well,
Or like
yeah.
pop culture?
That's
Yeah.
bad. Yeah. Those are.
Like your top 3 worst fan groups.
All right. No, Len.
Okay, but Nazis are off the table. Like
Yeah. Nazis
Wait,
are off
did you
the
mean
table.
Adolf Hitler or a different?
Yeah, Adolf.
Just to be clear.
Jerome.
Okay.
I feel like
Jerome.
Man, Jerome.
Jamel Hitler.
I could be a fan of his.
No, Jerome was his dad. Jamel and Jerome, they're actually good people.
Yeah, very underrated folks.
Oh my God.
worst fandoms.
Yeah.
You want 3 or you want me to just name one?
Your top 3.
Top 3?
Yeah.
In order from 3 to 1.
This is so weighted because it also has to do with like what we pay attention to the most, maybe online or
So it's very
true.
personal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
personal
personal,
pick.
though.
Yeah.
It does get personal. So number 3 would be that get on my freaking nerves. Would be a little bit of like anime fans.
Oh, okay.
Anime because they get a little gatekeeperish.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
Not that comic book fans can't either, to be true. Number 2 would be comic book fans.
Yeah.
Any specific comic book fandom?
old
Old heads.
no old heads.
Okay.
The old heads, which I have to admit, like is in my area, like me. Like a lot of guys that are like me or older, they get on my freaking nerves, and whatever. And number one, over anything and anyone that any of you will name, are Dallas Cowboys fans.
Oh, okay.
Facts.
I would say Green Bay fans are worse, but that's fine.
Of course you would. 'Cause
You
you're a
would say
Bears
that.
fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Who you got?
Fandoms. This is not an indictment of what they're fans of, just discourses that are usually very contentious for no
Unless
reason.
they're Packers fans.
Unless they're Packer fans. Actually, I'm pretty glad that Aaron Rodgers got hurt in practice.
Did
with
he
the Jets.
really?
Yeah, he hurt his calf in like OTA practice. Yeah, fuck him. Anyway, fans. So I get attacked often by Zack Snyder fans.
Oh yeah, Snyder Bros.
And they're all over my feed. It's my fault. I engage. Like, what do you mean? Just
Twitter's like, oh, you like this? I'll give you more of it.
yeah. Old head comic book fans.
Mhm.
And old head comic book fans could just be anybody that has not enjoyed comics since like 2005.
Yeah, like maybe like
It
pre-Marvel
doesn't have to be
Cinematic
Silver
Universe.
Age
Yeah,
fans.
it doesn't.
Like
You're
it's
right.
just anybody
Yeah.
pre like One More Day.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
That like apparently like fandom decided to crack at that moment, and if you liked anything after that, you're a
Garbage
a
human.
cuck garbage human. Who
What year was
doesn't
that?
know what
When
real
was that?
comics are like? 2008, 2009.
Like
Or
around the
2007.
invention of smartphones.
Yeah.
And when you
Basically.
could just start
When
commenting
you,
all
when
the
you could
time.
attack people about
Yeah.
your opinion, and then absolutely Star Wars fans. Star Wars fans, I think, is my number one because they are just so. We don't own anything. You guys know that, right? Everything that we watch,
Right,
that we
right.
enjoy, that we're fans of, we don't
Yeah.
fucking own it.
Mhm.
We're not-
More so than any other fandom I engage with, Star Wars fans feel as though they own it. And if you're not on their specific bandwagon, you're not a real fan, you're a piece of shit, you're garbage, and they'll like dox you. Like
Yeah.
they go hard.
I started to say Star Wars fans for that same reason. However, I give them a bit of a slight pass because before the sale to Disney, George Lucas was very inviting of their input, allowed them to create their own fan fiction and let it live out there and stuff like that. So, which gave them a bit of a false sense
Of
Ownership.
ownership.
of
Yeah.
ownership.
Oh,
And you know,
interesting.
I forgot a really important one that maybe you'll bring up.
Well, mine. So I have to agree with the Snyder fans. The Snyder fans can be exhausting, and again, not people who like Zack Snyder's films.
Yeah, no.
Very specifically, the Snyder Bros, who are like toxic and their whole personality is just liking those films. Star Wars fans, and I was gonna say like the make comic book great again
Comic
crowd,
Comicsgate.
like
Yeah,
anything that's like not a straight white dude is like pandering or woke this, woke that. And, they just use buzzwords that angry YouTubers told them to use, and they don't actually seem to have their own opinions. They just kind of copy paste the same exact thing over and over again, and it's kind of lame. Yeah, those
Yeah.
Was that three? Did I get three?
Yeah. My
Star Wars?
My favorite aspect of that too is when they take like provable metrics
Yeah.
and say that there are reasons as to why like it fails. Like nobody's reading this shit. Like I mean, it's the top 3 book in the country.
Yeah.
Who's nobody?
I had a guy come
Yeah.
in today who was like hemming
Yeah.
and hawing about Captain Marvel, like, "Oh, I bet her stuff doesn't sell," and I was like, "No, it sells pretty good."
Yeah, like I could prove it to you.
it's
that it
pretty
actually
good.
sells
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good.
Like nobody that they know.
Yeah,
The people that they talk to.
That's just it. We don't own
Yeah.
it, and we're in our own little fucking bubbles, right?
Well, it's like a confirmation bias thing, right? Where
yeah.
you're like, nobody's reading this except those dumbasses who are reading it.
Yeah.
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 Mhm. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're also reading it.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
that's
so
true.
they can be mad at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me yours.
Okay. So I do not truck with back and forths online with these people,
Yeah.
right?
It's good.
So
You shouldn't.
on the rare occasions that I say something, I couch it in like really gentle or understanding terms, or I try to. You never know how it's coming across in text. But then if it goes, I can't think of the last time that I replied a second time
Yeah.
to somebody, right? Because I don't want to deal with that. And I've even recently started, like, if I see somebody saying something stupid, I just hide all from that person.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I've been doing
That's way better than what I do.
on Facebook, that's super possible.
Yeah.
Where you could like, you don't have to performatively block, or you could actually just unfollow and like you never see their shit.
Or like I'm
They
still
can
in
be
that
dumb.
group, I just don't see this person's posts, right?
And on Twitter you can mute them, which I like.
And because I'm of the mind that like responding and getting them angry further entrenches them in their opinion and actually works against what we want, right, in the world. If maybe you can say something that with really slim chance will change their mind or prevent somebody else from feeling hurt or whatever, like maybe those are worthwhile. But like if I'm only going to be making them angry, then it just enhances the issue. But that being the case, I would say Marvel movie fans are some of the groups that I hear the most from, and probably because they are open to, or they reach a much larger audience. People who are not necessarily into superheroes or comics or that kind of thing, and they're much more mainstream, so there's got a wider audience. And they, I don't know what the other reason would be, but I feel like there is one. You know, like they are, well, they put a lot of stuff in there that get people upset, wrongfully so, but you know, like Captain Marvel in a movie, you know, that kind of
How
thing.
dare they?
And it's very public, I guess, is probably the other thing, right? It's much more prominent than what's happening in any comic or you know, that kind of thing. Probably even Star Wars, but that's a tougher call.
I think that there's also like much like with fandoms, winning fandoms of sports, there's a cockiness associated with that people swing around when you're a part of the winning team. And by metric, Marvel movies are very, very, very popular in winning. Right. So it's like, we know what's good. We watch all the stuff that makes all $1 billion. Fuck you.
So wait,
like there is a confidence kind of like.
Let me clarify
swing to it.
What you're talking about. Are you talking about Marvel fans against other fans, or are you talking about Marvel fans who are angry at Marvel films?
Yeah, that is more so.
The latter. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
No, that's all right.
I'm
That's
a
a valid
Marvel
point,
fan, but
but
now
yeah,
there's
yeah.
this woke Captain Marvel movie, and she sucks, and she doesn't smile. Yeah.
And because it is such a more of a thing that people who want to be angry about that stuff would comment on, right? Way more than like what's happening in Image Comics these days or whatever, you know? So I think that's the biggest one. And then the other stuff, I feel like I'm in a lot of Star Trek fan groups, and so sometimes I see stuff there. I'm in DC Comics fan groups, so sometimes I see stuff there. But that's just because I'm in those groups. Like you were saying, Len, like it's a very personal experience. I don't see it too much in Star Trek, which is cool.
I would hope not.
That's why
Star Trek.
That's why they're on mine. Because if you're a terrible Star Trek fan, you're missing the entire thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good
Like,
one.
at least with Star Wars, there's a whole bunch of randomness, and there's I don't like tentacled people or whatever. The very concept of the Federation is that we've gotten past all of our ridiculous human
Pettiness.
bullshit.
Yeah.
And if you're still stuck on that, like, no, you need to be somewhere else. So Star Trek fans are on my list. Like those, they're on my list.
Like, because it annoys you the most.
Yeah,
because
like,
it's
how dare you? Like,
the
how are
hypocrisy
you?
of it.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm with both of you 100% on Zack Snyder fans, and there's no movie that I've enjoyed more in my life than Man of Steel.
No, I know.
I'm like, you making us all look bad, bro. Like the whole, like, how are you gonna make everybody look bad? How are you these people that decide? Not only is this thing better than everything, but I'm going to make it my goal in life so that no one else enjoys anything else. And not only that, we're gonna, don't go see this movie.
Yeah, they start
effort
boycotts and shit. Also, too, they're living in a fantasy world of, well, like everyone's got a fucking MDA or a PhD in entertainment.
Yeah.
Everything. Where it's just like, well, you see, what DC can do is they could just sell the distribution rights to a specific streamer,
sell it to
pay them
Netflix.
$500 million,
Oh,
and
God.
we'll finally get our movie universe. I'm like, the fuck do you
not
think
going to
things
happen.
like that have never worked
Yeah, it's just not
in
going to happen.
any way,
And
shape, or form? And you're just
it's heartbreaking to have something that I love so much wrapped up in all that bullshit. I'm like, oh good God, you guys are killing me.
I'm seeing dudes like already they're posting fake bad reviews for Flash just because, which is funny because wasn't it part of like that's Snyder versus Flash. Like why are they upset about that?
Sometimes I wonder if they're just stirring stuff up. These are people that are
thriving on.
they are monetizing
Right.
the argument.
yeah.
Yeah. I had another one. I can't remember.
Star
There's
Trek.
only two.
It was Star Trek.
Snyder Bros.
And probably like you said, like old comic fans that are so weirdly gatekeepery,
Yeah.
right? That
It's awful.
like
I
that
love
just can't. And I'm an old comic fan that's sort of weirdly gatekeepery, and there are things that I'm like, you know what? I wish when you're talking about the MCU, I wish they had a couple things they had done a little bit better.
Mhm.
But in general, it's like, all right, let's see where this goes.
But see, I think the difference, like us at this table, I think the difference is knowing the difference between the self and the whole. As in, like, yeah, there's shit that happens in modern comics and in the MC movies and stuff that I'm like, oh, I kind of prefer this version.
Yeah.
That's where it stops because that's
Yeah,
your
yeah.
preference. It's
Yeah,
like,
and then
I prefer
then
this
I go on with
version.
my day.
Yeah.
This is shit. And no one
Yeah.
should like this. And you're all fucking stupid for liking it because it wasn't exactly how I wanted it. Like, that's the differentiation. Right?
And quite honestly, there's only two things that I'm like, you could have done that differently. Black Panther should have died of cancer.
Mhm.
If you're going to have
Yeah.
the character die, it should have been cancer.
Mhm.
And the Marvel thing in Captain Marvel kind of upset me because Marvel and Marvel's death was so important.
That's
Yeah.
true. I didn't even think about
And
that.
it's just-
I
and then-
didn't mind her character. I liked that. I had a problem with that character being Marvel.
I understand.
Marvel as an entity and his
Cancer.
cancer, like it meant a lot.
Yeah.
And I think they just kind of shit on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't
Right
really
on.
care about that. That's
Yeah.
fair. That
Yeah,
is fair.
those are good.
That's it.
Excellent. I like that. That's good. Should we continue with the fan? Or-
Yeah, the point was how to be a good fan. As a good fan etiquette, how should you approach spoilers?
Yeah.
Knowing them, discussing them, sharing them.
In just 1 week, 2 massive spoilers, one in comics and one in comic movies, were plastered all over the internet and traditional media with little to no effort made to conceal the information. Let's talk about what you think is fair and proper fan etiquette when it comes to spoilers.
So we're not going to actually spoil what was spoiled, even if you already know it. One is in regards to the Spider-Man comic book, and the other is the new Flash film.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man one, they
He's kidding.
Someone got a
Mary
hold.
Jane and Aunt May are sisters, and they both have spider powers.
I mean, there's a Spider-Verse, so
Yeah, it's probably happened.
it's probably happened. There's the new universe. Something happens in issue 26 of Spider-Man that had a couple people up in arms for multiple reasons. The problem is the book was 2 weeks away from being published. Is still a week away from being published, so it was illegally obtained, scanned, and shared.
Yeah.
It was shared so widely, and people didn't hide the fact on social media that they were sharing it, that Marvel had to rush a press release of the reveal.
Yeah. Nick Lowe, the editor of the Spider books, went online and was like, hey, y'all, there's a spoiler out there. Please try to avoid it and read the book and find out the thing because we
What's-
want you to read the story.
The first comment is the spoiler, and the screenshot.
And
People-
it's an image, so you can't. It's not like you're like, I'm not going to read this. It's like, oh, that's a picture. It's in my brain now.
See, that to me is the line for if you are a person that wants to put a spoiler online, right? It should be in such a way that clearly identifies it as a spoiler and can be avoided.
And you can literally,
know.
one of the new things in Twitter that you
Yeah.
can do is if you're posting an image, you can hide it,
Yeah.
and people have to click it to see it.
And then
And so
then
this
that's
person
fine.
they specifically don't do that.
Right.
And I don't understand what one gets out of that. Like there's a person
Control.
behind a computer doing that and being like, what? Like, I don't understand what you get out of it
Kids-
other than
kids
you're
squish bugs. It's just control. It's
Yeah.
childish control. Like it's there's no larger machination to understand.
I
would-
Just
I would
have
think it's-
information.
yeah.
They use information out of a sense of control and/or spoils.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's either the desire.
What is it? Any attention is good attention.
basically.
Yeah.
See, it could be that, right? Because I think there's maybe two drives. Everyone, or some people, really like to be the first to share news, right? They knew something before other people knew it, and that is a nice feeling, and or can be, and or the other reason they want to hurt someone's enjoyment because they're
Yeah.
able to.
So the first of it all,
Yeah.
the spoiler for this Flash movie
Hmm.
was originated from Variety, an actual publication,
Ah.
with an interview with the
So is that
director.
real? Because
Yeah.
I
the
saw
interview
something.
with the director.
Yeah.
Okay.
He confirmed it
Huh.
in an interview space. This wasn't like I'm going to tell you everything.
Yeah.
It was
Right,
he was
right.
asked directly about it from somebody that saw the movie, a media outlet, and they wrote an article about it.
Hmm.
So, even as a media outlet, that exclusivity of just being first
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
incentivized. The bad behavior was incentivized and then shared. When really in the room, it should have been like, entertainment industry reporting is my job. You just gave information that's probably not out there yet. Is this embargoed information?
Yeah.
No, they just printed it,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
now it's
just-
the
now it's out
So-
there, yeah.
Well, because
I'm
the
not going to
monetization.
spoil it with my question, but did the spoiler have anything to do with the villain of the piece?
No.
no.
Oh, because I had that ruined for me weeks ago.
But that's just it. So with the Flash, it's kind of weird. This
Oh, I
movie's
missed
been
that one.
screening since the end of April and it doesn't come out until June.
Yeah.
I've seen spoilers on it for the last 2 months.
I've seen notices of the spoilers. I specifically when it comes to properties that I know that I have an interest in,
Mm.
I will. I try to stay away from it.
Yeah.
After the initial news, maybe I'll watch like the teaser trailer.
Yeah.
And then unless I'm in a movie theater and the trailer comes up again, I don't see
Yeah.
anything. I try to,
I try that,
see,
yeah.
and just go. It's hard. It is hard because you do have to censor yourself, and you do trust certain media outlets to know the right way to handle these things. One of the things that I try and do is I'm not big on Twitter, so I'm not reading a whole bunch of comments anyway.
It is a garbage site.
So in the news places I go for news, generally give you like a teaser headline that's kind of letting you know, like, hey,
Yeah.
this might spoil it. And then when you go there, the first thing you say, this is spoilers for
Yeah,
X, Y, and Z.
I hate to say it, but like my favorite, Bleeding Cool handles spoilers better than any other like outlet.
What do they do?
Because it's the thumbnail for the whole story is a giant spoiler bumper.
That's cool.
When you click on it,
Yeah.
no title or description have the spoilers. It's like a policy.
Mhm.
And then they give you another bump halfway through the article of "Are you sure?" Giant spoiler,
Wow.
long enough to
That's
not.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
weird
Yeah.
that Bleeding Cool
Speaking of garbage sites,
is
Yeah.
Yeah.
like most
That's pretty
respectful
good.
of user experience in regards to trying to keep
That's
spoilers
nice.
together.
Interesting.
I am the one of maybe 3 people that I've ever encountered that doesn't care. I
About
don't
spoilers
care
at all.
about
Oh
at all.
man, it drives
Do you
me
remember?
nuts.
Do you remember when Endgame came out?
Mhm.
I
were
I
asking.
asked him.
Yeah.
I was like, "Yo," I was like, he was like, "This is amazing," and I was like, "Tell me, I don't
Yeah.
care." He was like, and you tell me the thing about spoiler alert, about Thor's hammer and Cap, and I was like, I was hoping that was gonna happen. Cool, because I when I saw it, I was still like, "Holy fucking shit!" and I can't even. I've seen that movie 150 times. I still can't watch it without tearing up a little
It's
bit.
still good, right?
Mm.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a
on
great
your left
scene.
gets me every time. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
Now you don't care about trailers, but do you
about spoilers.
spoilers? But do you understand the anxiety?
Oh yeah, no,
around-
I get it. I get it. I understood. So I've never been one like, oh, guess what? Although every now and again I will go online and put up the most ridiculous spoilers, and people were losing their minds. Like I put up an X-Men spoiler. I was like, yeah, Spider-Man show. They were like, why would you post that? That didn't happen.
Yeah.
It didn't. And like, no, it's okay.
I actually agree with you. In so much as I can't remember the last time finding out a spoiler actually upset me. Because to me, if this whole story is contingent on a twist, it's not a good story.
Yeah.
So it's just more the journey. I don't care. But I do get really pissed about other people being spoilers for no reason.
For no reason at all. Like, why
that does
would you
piss
do
me
that?
off. So, like, I don't care that I know a lot of things that are happening in the Flash movie. I'm still going to see it. I'm still excited. I don't care who dies in what comic, and if I found out, like, it's like, it'd be cool to like find out in the moment, but if I didn't, I'm still gonna read it. I care that people are such shitheads about it.
Yeah.
Like even Nick Lowe's Twitter message of like, hey, please, like, just try and stay away, please don't. First comment: why would you kill X person when they blah blah blah, and then a picture of it, like.
You're an
What the
asshole.
fuck is wrong with you?
You're
Like,
not to do
you're an
that.
asshole.
Not to
Not
do
only
this
just
thing.
not only that, but like everyone that you're friends with sees that you commented on this other thing, and it's fed into their For You page. It's fed into their feed when they could have just avoided it. I saw shit that you respond to that I am no part of because that's how Twitter works.
That's how it was spoiled for me, because my friend Mark had responded to someone being like, hey, thanks for the spoilers. And I saw that post because he commented on it.
That's just like
I
it's
understand.
The
I get
more
it.
we
I
engage with
shouldn't
it,
have-
the more
yeah.
that it's shit.
I'm sorry.
I don't care.
Now that one, I wonder, is probably a third reason, not an intentional spoiler. That guy or whomever it was so upset that it happened.
Well,
You know,
some of the people that
I'm not
I
saying
called
his
out
actions
for
were right.
That's
but
good
just-
faith. It's often not in good faith.
Oh,
some of the people that I called out were like, hey man, spoiler, why are you doing that? They're like, they would say, oh, it's so bad that it deserves to be spoiled.
Yeah.
Like,
People do say.
okay.
Who the fuck
know-
are you though?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard
gatekeeper.
something.
Hey,
yeah.
if
Gatekeeper,
you
yeah.
want to be mad / entertained, just follow people that are having conniption fits over Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
I heard a little while ago, I think it was an actual study, that spoilers tend to increase people's enjoyment
Yeah.
because it, for the same reason that you might enjoy something more the second time, because you're not worried about what's going to happen, right? You're like, for whatever anxiety, however much that worry affects the rest of your life, you're like, oh, I already know this is coming or whatever. Although, Noel, you had mentioned if the movie rides on a twist, then it's not worth it. But I would say the spoilers I care about even more are like, who's showing up? What thing is happening?
Yeah.
In the, that kind of thing.
So like
Nice little surprises.
Yeah.
If you remove one twist
Mm.
away from a movie, a book, or whatever, and the book doesn't have any weight anymore,
Mm.
I don't think it's a very good story.
Yeah.
Like if it's just contingent on a twist, then it's like all you did was reverse engineer a reveal. That's not really engaging me. Or there's no fun revisit value, right? It's just
Well, that's a personal opinion kind of thing. Like,
I am expressing my
you
personal
could
opinion.
no. What I'm saying is like mileage may vary. I think like how do you feel about the Sixth Sense?
That's the one I was.
That's one I always go to.
I
Yeah.
watch it. It's great because the story's not contingent on a twist.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if you know the twist, if
Well,
you
then
know that little
you enjoy it because you see all the things that they avoid and do to keep it keep it alive.
To keep the twist.
But there is
Yeah,
a different
you can't-
enjoyment of when you find that twist out for the first time, or
Yeah.
Fight
no,
Club,
I
or Usual
agree with
Suspects,
you.
or-
Like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just those. So those are examples of exactly what I said it is not. Like those are not examples of what I said. Those stories are not contingent on the twist. They are good stories that reveal a twist. Whereas let me think of a good example. I don't
I'm
know.
trying to think of.
But like if it's all about actually The Village, I think is a terrible movie because just the one twist of
Spoiler alert.
to spoil a 20-year-old movie.
Oh God.
We almost
Jesus
waited to be
Christ.
extras in that
It was
movie,
crumbled to
and it
dust.
was hot, and the line was long.
It was a slow prodding movie where they're all like in olden times, and all of a sudden it's like, oh no, they were just
in the
They're in
park.
Newton
they're
times.
just in a park, and no one went a mile away.
You know what annoyed me? I knew
and
that
I'm
from the
like-
trailer.
But that's just it. Like
I figured it
everything-
out from the trailer.
everything fell apart with just that, as
Yeah,
opposed to it being
yeah.
like, you know what, I still enjoyed this like really heart wrenching story about these fake.
When I saw
I'm
the
like, no,
Sixth
I
Sense
didn't.
trailer, I did not figure it out, but I thought the movie was about a ghost detective, and I was like, "Oh, cool, a movie about a ghost detective."
Oh.
And then I watched the movie, and
I
that
remember
wasn't what it
you-
was about. Yeah.
Dylan, the TV's about to go off.
It's all good.
Bruce Willis goes detective.
And also the comments never.
I had
We
a
have
friend, a viewer of this
Well, that's
show, who years ago he used to sometimes say to me like, so if some twist online was so outlandish, right? He knew I didn't like spoilers, but if he heard something that was so crazy, that it couldn't be true, he would tell me about it. And then he told me about this is a spoiler for Doctor Who from whatever the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who was 15 years ago. He was like, I heard Tom Baker's going to be in it. And I told him after he was in it. And I was like, you're lucky. I did not believe you. I did not think
our friendship would be over.
But it turned him around. And he was like, I'm not going to tell you or anyone anything like that anymore. Yeah.
Robert Monroe Jr. is in the chat saying M. Night's The Visit had a great twist. When it was revealed, the entire audience gasped in unison. It was a very memorable cinema experience. I still have not seen The Visit.
Yeah.
I actually
one is
didn't
that?
feel
Thanks
that
for
way.
That's
letting
the
us know it
one
had a
with
twist.
the kid who raps so poorly that I had to stop watching it.
I didn't feel that way about The Visit, but
Is he a character
I'm glad
in
that
the
you
film?
liked it.
Yeah, right. It's the one. So like the two kids go to visit the grandparents, and the one kid just keeps rapping, and it's so bad.
Like in regular life? Like to his grandmother?
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah,
Just like I would like to have some marmalade or
I've
something.
never heard of this movie.
Yeah.
At all.
It's fine.
And I usually catch most of his stuff. I'm like, all right, there's a new one that.
I think did he
This
just
was like 10
produce
years
it?
ago.
No, he
Yeah.
directed
He
it.
directed it?
I think that Knock at the Cabin was probably his best movie in like a decade.
What are we talking about? Spoilers. Yeah, spoiler alert.
We were talking about spoilers.
Oh.
You know what annoys me is in articles too, where they'll say, in tonight's episode or whatever, spoiler dies. And I'm like, well,
Just don't put
That's-
die. Spoiler.
right.
Yeah, spoiler
Yeah.
happens.
Or can you believe DC killed
right,
with a picture
right.
of the involved parties?
Like, I
Guess
can
Jason
believe it.
Todd is doomed.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's-
I did
there's-
vote for him to die.
I understand.
Did you?
I
voted in
understand. I understand the algorithm. I understand why. I understand the incentivizing like divisive topics. I understand all of it. I think it's
I
a
just hate
terrible experience.
Yeah, me too.
And it's not fun.
It's
I had
another
a-
issue
I had
with capitalism.
I had an issue
Yeah.
with it was a spoiler in the title. They didn't even do that. It was like Newsarama or one of those news sites. That the whole that's what it was. I was trying to catch up on World's Finest by Dan Mora and Mark Wade,
Yeah.
one of the finest books on the shelves right now.
Facts.
World's Finest, and a certain character's
lineage, progeny,
lineage
whatever.
was revealed in the thing, and I was specifically trying to catch up, and it was like, oh, never mind. Now I know it is.
okay, that's
Cool.
a segue to
And I stopped reading because I got bored. I was
that's a
like, oh, never
segue to a different conversation.
Segway.
When is it okay to share spoilers? Because you were a couple months behind.
Yeah.
mind.
That's a good point.
That
So-
Then why was it a headline?
Because
Several months behind.
Because they probably felt that it was safe enough to talk about it at that point. It was
Yeah,
at
somebody
least,
wrote an article
It was at
about
least
it.
an issue
Yeah.
behind. I remember
What?
this.
No,
'cause
no,
it
no,
was,
I mean,
it was
to
an
discuss.
issue 10 when it
Yeah, yeah,
happened,
yeah.
and
Why was
issue
it an
11
article?
was about to
Because
come out.
someone
So
wrote
like,
an article.
it was at least a month.
I'm gonna. All right, so I'm gonna go different levels on this stuff.
Okay.
So comics, you got a month.
Well, all right.
Till
You
the
get-
next
you get 1
issue.
month. You get till the next issue,
Yeah.
right? You should never put it out before the book comes out. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
no,
Never.
Yeah.
No.
not that first week. No. Month. You got a month. Once the next issue drops, whatever.
Fair.
I think if it's a wild story or something, or then you could tap dance around it
Yeah, yeah.
starting Wednesday
Yeah.
to like 2 Wednesdays later.
Yeah.
But nothing in
No,
headlines,
no,
nothing
no,
explicit.
no.
Like,
Yeah.
let's talk about the reveal. That's it. Like something like that.
TV shows, weekly shows. You get. I give it a week. You got a week. Catch up.
I think more realistically is a couple days for
Indie
TV shows.
That's a little different because sometimes some people are gonna sit and-
Bingy shows. You mean like if like the
Like
whole
if the whole
season
thing
Like the
drops.
whole
drops,
season. Yeah.
Or
Or
if the
even
whole thing drops, then I suppose you have to give it a little bit more time because not everybody's gonna take the
Right.
I've got 13 hours a day. I'm gonna watch the entire season of
Yeah.
whatever. Like that's not gonna happen. So you got to give that a little bit more time. Movies is where you gotta is really the crux of this, right? Because I just saw Ant-Man the other day because it dropped on
Ant-Man
Disney
1?
Plus. Yes.
Wow. Quantumania, right?
What?
Yeah.
Look, yeah, Larry Fishburne was in the first. No.
He's in the second one.
Yeah, he's in the second one.
I just saw Quantumania the other day, but I knew about MODOK and all that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
I love MODOK.
See, MODOK, you knew he was going to be in it.
Yeah.
Who he was, I don't know that really affected the movie.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But getting to see his face was something I was glad that I didn't know before going in.
Yeah.
That was every time he came on the screen, I was like,
Wait, side
I like it when they showed his
note,
little
what'd you
butt.
think about it?
oh, I love it.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
love it.
All right.
Everyone's hating on that
It's a good
movie.
movie.
I think it's fun.
I think the complaints are valid, but I actually really enjoyed it.
And
So
you know
like,
what?
I think the production complaints are valid.
You know what? I'm bringing John Majors back. He was so good.
He was really
John
good.
Majors, yeah.
Yeah, I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it back. I just saw Ezra Miller on a commercial for Flash.
Really?
There's a commercial, and I don't know if I don't know if it was edited from the movie where he's talking to people, and then like in the commercial, there's kids that are like blah 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 Flash blah blah blah. I don't know if that was if it was from the film and they had the kids talk, or if it was something I hadn't seen yet, right? So I'm like, did they really just put Ezra Miller in a commercial?
It's so weird to know though, because they've been doing like promotion for this movie for like a year and a half, and then it's been filmed for like 2 years.
Yeah.
So that could have been shit from before.
Yeah.
Because they did they're in a bunch of promos introducing the movie and introducing clips and stuff from a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Comic-Con. So like I don't even know. Who knows?
Speaking of the lengths of time, I really only have 2 comments on what you were saying, Randy. I would give a few weeks, even for a TV show, because of the massive content that's around, and that you might be like,
even like a weekly show.
yeah, I probably would, just because it's now. Well, here's the other question too. Are we talking about when can you, as somebody online, expect and not be upset about a spoiler, or when should you feel free to post? Because I might say those are 2 different times. Like I would hold it a little longer than I would be upset if I saw it.
Also, 2 different channels that they come from. Actual media outlets versus the conversation in the groups online that you're already a part of.
Oh yeah.
So like all of my Succession fans that I follow, they're gonna start talking about it.
Oh yeah.
Day of drop
Yeah.
versus Variety having an article or a review.
I mean,
that
like when
reveals
I
shit
went
a week later.
when Picard was coming out, I didn't go on Facebook, and I was like super careful about all of it, and I would not have expected not to see something that day. So yeah, that's a group you're a part of. That's a little bit different. That's a good point.
I also think
real
the
disrespectful fans. Sorry.
I got a group. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think when people get called out for spoilers and their whole thing is like, well, just don't go online.
Yeah, it's
Like, don't go
Hey.
online for the next month until the Flash comes out. Yeah, okay. We're just gonna not be on the internet.
Well, that's the same bullshit as like you can't, if you're autoimmune, don't go out in public. Like
just don't exist.
that's a little reductive.
Not going on. That's not realistic. What I do think is realistic, however, is that, and you are guilty of this, JD. I know because you say it all the time.
Well.
How the turntables.
You
fucking
engage.
asshole.
I
yes,
should engage.
that's
Yeah.
true.
I do. I shouldn't.
I do.
But that doesn't
But-
mean that like I want to see spoilers because I'm engaging with people.
I think
being
there's
dicks.
levels of engagement though. Like if somebody's objectively wrong and or really hurtful to something else, it's like, no. And here's why no. But then, kind of ends there as opposed to stalking their pages and attacking them personally and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like it's topic
I
specific.
will mail dog shit to their
It's
house.
topic specific, but then when
Is
you're
that
talking
cool?
You don't have
when
a
you're
dog.
when you're
Where
talking
you
with
getting
somebody who's when you're talking with somebody and their
Very
immediate
difficult.
recourse is
Ooh,
screenshots of pictures on your profile and talking about you as a like
I've had people
I thought
like
we were
talk
talking about Spider-Man,
my
you piece of
wife.
shit.
I've had people like threatening my wife because I like Ray Skywalker. Like they talk about my family and shit. It's like
Which
that's
is
when I was like,
weird.
whoa.
Well, but that probably wasn't the first Right. Well, you know what I mean. Like you engaged with
No.
those. Wait, how did this come to pass?
I was having a back and forth with someone
Yeah.
else who this person was not even involved in.
Yeah.
And I was talking about like, oh, I like Rey Skywalker and blah blah blah, and he was like, well, I think she's poorly written Mary Sue, and I was like, well, she's not really a Mary Sue. If she's a Mary Sue, then Luke's a Mary Sue. Blah blah blah. And then this other dude came out of Nowheresville, PA, and started talking about my, oh, we know that you're woke with your Asian wife and blah blah blah, and he like found her business online.
Yeah.
And then was like threatening to come here, like I hear Philly's great in the summer.
Yeah,
Like he was like sending me personal messages
Holy.
that I didn't even see till later because on Facebook you don't
Right.
if you're not friends with them you don't.
Yeah.
No, that was like
Right.
oh I've got a hidden message. What's this?
Oh
Oh cool.
my God. But that was
Yeah.
an isolated incident, right? Like that
You
just
come
kind
see
of
me.
It's happened
like
twice.
It's happened to
really.
me twice.
To me, it's happened.
Okay.
Come
twice.
see me on the street.
in front of my shop.
In
He'll
front
be
of
there.
it?
He
Yeah,
just
come see
paces
me.
in front
Yo.
with his dukes up.
That's
Yeah,
awful.
who does?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, weird.
Well, I mean, like if let's say somebody says something like, I'm trying to think of I don't like this, and you're like, well, actually, I don't like it because of X, Y, and Z. Why should we even care about your opinion? You have pronouns. Like,
Yeah, pronouns in bio.
sorry, what the fuck
Opinion
does that
doesn't
have
matter
to do
or
with
whatever.
anything?
You
Yeah.
have pronouns.
Yeah.
Basically,
Bro's mad at grammar. Sorry.
Yeah. It's very weird. Like when that's the level of discourse. Yeah, I'm gonna engage because you're being an asshole. And I don't know how to not.
I see. I know. Fair enough. I don't engage
Yeah.
because I'm not inviting that negativity into my space, into my brain. Why go there?
I do.
You've gotten much better.
I do let it go.
I'll engage the fuck out of you. I'll be like, yo, fight me. Okay, fight me then.
Yeah.
Fight. No. We're gonna end this right here because you're talking all this keyboard warrior stuff. Come to Philadelphia and fight me. Otherwise, get off the internet. Fight me.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, no, like, dude coming after your wife was wrong. Yes, I'm responding to that. I'm trying to check it. I'm never going to totally check it because it's the internet.
Yeah.
I don't know where to do this. But I am going to let him know, like, that's not going to slide. So I
Yeah.
probably am saying something akin to what Randy's saying. But then after that, I'm letting it go because
Yeah,
I ain't
yeah.
got time for the bullshit.
Yeah.
Or
That's
like
good.
other,
That's the way to be.
you report that to people?
To who?
Actual threats?
No, you can.
Do they not have? Yeah.
You can report some shit.
Yeah.
I know some not no dudes, but I know a couple women friends who have had to report
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
and gotten some people like I don't know if they got kicked off of social media, but they definitely were no longer allowed in their space. And at least one person I saw, I haven't seen on social media.
It's just so strange. I mean, it's about pop
Yeah.
culture.
I'm actually
Yeah.
looking
You know?
for a guy that sent Gangsta Grass a message. And I read the whole thing online and how this dude was like, keep that bullshit out of our music. Blah, blah, blah. Did you
I
see
remember
that?
Oh.
this. You guys had a show in like Kentucky or something.
Yeah. No, this was before that. And so I read the whole message online. Yo, your man was like, fuck you, fuck your mother, fuck the slave that raped her, rape the slave that fucked her, and then this was my favorite part. Gorilla, middle finger. Gorilla, middle finger. Yo, there was like, you know how you can full
like a wall of
just a
emojis.
message of gorillas and middle fingers. Dog, I was crying, laughing, dude. I laughed my teeth out of my head. 'Cause your man took he was dedicated.
Yeah.
Out of my head. I'm missing like 4.
Question from off camera is how do you laugh your teeth out of your head?
A lot of
Excellent
gorilla
question.
emojis.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Gorillas and middle fingers.
You want to get Randy's funny bone?
Now, I do think that I do engage on occasion, but it usually ends at the thread. I try not to give extra smoke afterwards. It's like,
Yeah.
it's fine. We're done.
Yeah.
Um,
Keep it moving.
Sometimes it finds you, but it's like, it's fine. This was an exchange. That's fine. But like, it's really funny when like 3 days later, someone jumps on that same thread.
Yeah,
And
you
starts
get blows up
commenting.
your
Where
it's
were
like-
you at?
The fuck, man.
Yeah, this was 3
Yeah.
days ago, bro.
Yeah, move on.
Be better fans.
Yeah, do we have any good solutions for this? Just not engage?
No, I mean, specifically how to not fight. I don't know. That's a bigger problem.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
it comes to spoilers, I think that we can be better. I think it's being better fans, like having having barriers, having barometers as to when you at least think it's acceptable and what you can and can't avoid, instead of like, oh, it's out there, free for all, everyone's got to know.
There's
Like,
a group.
what's going on?
There's a group that I'm in on Facebook, Multiverse Unlimited, and like, what they'll do is they'll set up a page. They're like, all right, this is where this is getting discussed, right here. And if you've seen it, you go here.
I've seen that.
Crazy, go nuts.
Yeah,
Spoilers
master posts.
in the
Those are like a
comments.
master post on
Yeah.
Facebook groups.
Go
Yeah,
crazy.
that's good.
And
That's actually a good
It's
solution.
an easy thing to do, and you're not being an ass.
Yeah.
Like, it's not. It's really just a matter of don't be an asshole, and let people enjoy stuff in the time that they have to do it, right? But again, you have to sort of, you can't be mad if you found out last week that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a thing, right? But give people time, and then accept that there at some point it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How?
Please.
I know we're talking about how to be a better, avoid spoilers and be better with spoilers and everything. But I have a question.
Uh-oh.
As the older one here, how to be a better fan? Because one of the things that I do appreciate about all of you, well, maybe not Brian so much, because as far as I know,
I fucking hate
only
that guy.
because as far as I know, you don't do this.
Trash man.
Is that the three of you are fairly active online,
Sure.
talking to fandom, whether it be on Twitter or on Facebook groups,
Positive and negative.
yeah, positive,
Yeah,
and
like
negative, right?
lots of positive spaces I do engage in.
Yes.
I find myself that one, because my job is in front of a screen, right? Most of the time when I'm not engaging in my work, I try to avoid at least that screen, because then I turn to my TV.
Yeah.
But so I try to limit the screen time. But I do find myself also wanting to be a part of these conversations and things.
It can
like
be
that.
really fun if it's
Right.
going well.
But I don't know, but it sounds stupid, but I don't know how. Should I have like a dedicated time that I go to?
Oh, I see.
Like, how do you do this? How do you stay like LinkedIn?
There's no, I mean, the safer spaces for me are usually curated groups.
Yeah, like Facebook groups.
Curated Facebook groups where there's moderators that shut shit down when it gets out of hand.
Yeah, definitely.
And just a common respect. Everything else is basically Wild West. Everything else.
Okay.
Like, I mean, it is like in regards to information or randos coming in and flipping the table over, metaphorically, everything is Wild West unless it's a curated group.
But do you find yourself checking it mostly in the morning? Do you have like a set time during the day?
Sprinkled. So like my job is also in front of screens, but it's mentally engaging. So I'll go hard for like an hour and a half, and then I just need to like take a break. But it's not necessarily a break away from a screen. It's a turn your brain off kind of thing.
Right.
So it'll be a quick check of Twitter or Facebook or YouTube just to like disengage for 10 minutes, and that's usually where a lot of the keyboard warrior happens, and then it's like, I'm done, I don't care enough, and then just continue on with
your
work.
day,
And then like maybe an hour or two from then I'll get some pings. Actually, I turned off notifications on my phone for social media.
I've done that.
The notifications are gone, but I can go on and see.
And then you see
so
it.
like I won't see it
Yeah.
until I turn it on. So like an hour or two later, I'll come back, and sometimes it'll be absolutely nothing. Sometimes it'll blow up because 80,000 people jumped on and was just like, let's make you the main character for a minute. But yeah, no, it's I disengage and act. I actively engage and disengage, alternating. Yeah.
See, now I have ADHD, so I am constantly in search of that nice little bling bling. The chemicals that go off in my brain. So I'm constantly on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. And so my wife has actually been like, "Hey, dog." She calls me dog.
That's where the shit comes from.
That's where that's all the dog shit. It's my wife.
It's very personal. No, that would be.
And so she's like, "I think you need to maybe calm down with the internet sometimes." And I'm like, Yeah, you're probably right. So I do struggle with not being online as much because there's just my brain needs somewhere to go, and it's just easy to do that. So now I have like a phone game like Marvel Snap. I'll play that instead. Anytime I want to get on the internet or whatever, I'll play Marvel Snap for a couple of minutes, or
Mhm.
I'll try to read a comic book
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
because I'm so behind on all my reading.
Oh,
Then I'm like, oh, you know
yeah.
what? Instead of looking for something out there, let me enjoy this, this comic book or something like that.
Gotcha.
But I have wondered, I have heard about apps that'll be like, hey, you can use social media for 20 minutes, and after that, you can't get into it anymore.
You can just do that. I have it sent. I have Facebook sent.
You know what you can do though?
Yeah.
Ignore it.
Snooze,
Yeah.
ignore
Oh no,
it,
I do
yeah.
that all the time.
Yeah.
But
It does not help me because I just go, "Eh."
No.
It's just one more thing to click to get to the internet.
Yeah,
You know what I
it
mean?
at least gives you
The option.
an idea that
Yeah.
you might not want to be on
Yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah.
and I
It
ignore
just
it
shames you.
98% of the time.
It just
but
shames you.
yeah.
Yeah, idiot.
Now
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Why are you
Oh.
back?
Don't you have any, doesn't anyone love you?
it's just negging you,
Don't
and
you
then you'll go on more.
Yeah, right?
Now, Len, I do interact. I go on a lot too, but most of the interactions that I have are just like, "Hey, I like this thing," or like, "I think this about that episode of the," that kind of thing. So it rarely becomes contentious.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I check it. A lot of times, I find the bathroom is a very good place
Yeah.
to be looking at your
See,
phone.
I'm reading the comic.
I understand.
Yo, I actually thought about this. So I'm just gonna put a pin in this a button on this conversation because it's not a revisit pin. It's just a button.
Sum it up.
I realized the other day, I haven't sat on the toilet without a device in like 11 years.
Yeah. I mean, before that, it was a book. You know what I mean? It's like
Actually,
or
no. I used to
something.
just go to the bathroom
Oh, really?
and then,
Oh,
I
like,
never
be
did that.
done.
No,
if
no,
if
no.
anything, I would be sitting there reading the shampoo bottle.
Yeah.
Dude,
I'd be reading. It's like, what can I read?
I need something to read.
Yeah.
I gotta read
You got to have
something.
something.
Dove
just
soap.
Doing something else.
But
Yeah.
but
What
now
is that
it's,
made of?
but now it's conditioned to the point where it's just like I have to go to the bathroom. Where's my phone? Like
yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Just
And
weird.
I call it out to myself. Like I'll get off the couch and I'll come back. I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta go pee. I gotta make my phone real quick.
Yeah.
Like, and I'll actually stand. I'll be standing urinating and still be
Sure.
looking
Well,
at
I'm
my
not
phone.
doing that.
I don't do the.
I didn't hear from you, man.
I am always on this thing.
Yes, I've-
But all right, so
I only know your
Because
fingers as blurs.
yeah, because I'm not working in front of a screen all the time. At Atomic City, we got screens behind us,
Mhm.
but we also are just using a cash register, right?
Yeah,
And then Uncanny, we have the screen, but it's not there's not a lot, and then I'm always looking for stuff, right? So like ideas to write songs about, and trying to get, all right, how do I get this information to here? How do I what's happening over here musically? How do I get in touch with this guy? How do I, what I mean? So it's always something, and I don't know if I have ADHD or not. I've never been diagnosed, but I know my brain is always like just looking for ideas
Mhm.
to start writing somewhere, for song ideas, for concepts, whatever, merchandise ideas, whatever. And then therapy's too expensive for me, so I just do retail therapy. And I'm like, ooh, I like this. I'm gonna put it in the cart. I'm not gonna buy it because I don't have any money, but it's there. On my Nike app, there are 9 pairs of sneakers just
Nice.
chilling.
I have 4. I have 4 pairs of sneakers on my Nike
I
app.
Wow.
got 9, bro. And then I'll be on the Nike app like creating sneakers. Like, ooh,
Oh yeah,
what
I
if
do that
put
all the
color-
time.
put
Like,
this color on these.
do I
and then
want my initials on the back tongue, or do I
All
not?
the-
Or
You'll
maybe
think they're
just
New
use numbers
Balances.
that-
all the time?
I do that way too much.
Yeah,
Noob.
but that's my
Thank you.
that's my retail therapy. That's how I
was
sort of, that helps me
That was
vibe out.
fucking quick.
Thank you
dude.
very much.
That was great.
Hey, you mentioned music. I am not up in the musical world. Would you consider are there spoilers for music? Is that a form of entertainment that you would rather
Wow.
not
Which is
have something
Probably
known
just
about?
hot takes more than anything else. Like
Okay.
Yeah.
a narrative will come
Okay.
out about like an album or a record
Hmm.
before
Yeah.
you get a chance to experience it.
Okay.
Yeah.
For
Yeah, I've
yourself.
never been spoiled
Like this
by an
guy's gonna
album.
be on this album is not.
Hmm.
You just be like, oh, cool.
Like, oh, I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
go
I
listen
can't
to
wait
that.
to listen to that.
Hey,
Right,
this,
right.
this band that's been around for 25 years, they're sellouts now, and you don't want to hear this new shit. It's the worst. And it's like, it's not even out yet. What's
Yeah.
happening? Yeah.
So email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com and let us know if you have any excellent advice or maybe some stories to tell us.
And
We
tell
would
us who
love to
Luke
hear them.
Skywalker's father is.
The main topic
Jermaine
for
Miller.
the last 10 minutes of our
He
show
gets around that
is
guy.
actually Punisher Warzone. So this past Sunday, I'm gonna have a question about this in a second.
Oh.
Character actor Ray Stevenson passed away unexpectedly. In honor of his contributions to nerd and fan culture, we thought it'd be nice to revisit what is maybe his most recognizable-ish role. Frank Castle in Punisher Warzone, which released back in 2008. It was rated R. It was directed by Lexi Alexander. Does anyone know what else she had done?
Green Street Hooligans.
Green Street Hooligan. Excellent movie.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a great movie. Starring Ray Stevenson, Dominic West of The Wire. He played McNulty.
And 300.
And 300.
And-
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who was he in
And
the 300?
Guy with a goatee.
what else was he?
Oh.
John Carter. He was in John
Yeah,
Carter.
he was in John Carter.
Oh, he was cool in John Carter. Underrated movie.
Oh, I love that
Underrated
movie.
movie.
That's a great movie.
I've still
Okay,
never
this
seen
is
it.
Ray Stevenson.
Julie Benz
John
from
Carter.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel
Darla.
and what was that other show with the murderer?
Boston
Dexter?
Public?
Dexter.
No.
She was in Dexter.
Oh, that's right. She was in
Wayne
Dexter.
Knight from
Rita.
Seinfeld and Jurassic
Yes.
Park.
Mhm.
Doug Hutchinson from I don't know other
Whatever.
stuff.
Punisher
And then-
Warzone.
Colin from Punisher Warzone and Colin Salmon.
Salmon.
Yeah.
From a lot of stuff.
He's
A lot of like genre stuff.
Oh.
He's great.
He was Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Or no, Resident Evil.
Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, turns the streets of New York City red as he wages a one-man war on crime against the crime syndicate responsible for the death of his wife and 2 children, aided by his trusted sidekick, Microchip. He almost kills Billy Rizzotti and leaves him horribly disfigured. Billy renames himself Jigsaw, and with the help of his crazed brother, Looney Bin Jim, recruits criminals from every corner of the city to do battle with Frank. So this movie came out back in 2008, and I remember being very excited. I just because of Dominic West from The Wire, I was like, oh, he's got bona fides. He's been in The Wire. It's a very gritty and realistic and award-winning cop drama.
Actually, it was not award.
No, it's not. Not to this day.
It was never nominated.
think
Well,
Things don't often
I don't
win
think it-
awards long after they've
Yeah,
been
it's
out.
like-
It won my award
All right. You should mail it to them.
for the show that should have awards but doesn't award.
Write him
That's
a
a
letter.
good award.
Right?
That would be a good award, yeah.
So I was very excited about this movie. I also was a fan of, to certain degrees, the Thomas Jane, the previous Punisher, which I thought was like real world, but also kind of silly. At John Travolta, so that was amped up a little bit. But I thought that was actually kind of a fun version of the
I like
Punisher,
that version.
right? It's
Yeah.
kind of underrated, I
I
think.
didn't see it.
And this was supposed to be. He hates it. And then I could tell because you're grimacing and shaking your head.
Yo,
no.
the wildest part
I'm
about
visual
that movie,
meeting.
though,
Well, everyone's nodding over there, so I feel like it needed to be balanced. Like, no,
That's
I
good.
the
think
wildest part about that
sucks.
movie was it wasn't just his wife and the kids got killed.
His
They
entire-
killed
Every
everybody.
castle.
Yeah.
They found
murked
every
his
castle.
Oh, so it was on purpose.
Yeah.
They murked
Oh, yeah.
everybody, bro.
Like children, like all sorts of kids.
his
and-
nieces and nephews, his
Yeah, they made
parents,
him.
everybody
They
got
They made him
murked.
an FBI agent undercover, and then he went on a family vacation, and they murdered
They murked
everyone.
Yeah.
everyone.
In the Keys.
Yeah.
That whole movie was
Huh.
filmed in Florida. I saw it filming. We actually went
that's
to
cool.
go try and become extras.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That is cool.
You know, it's of a certain time because it has the scene wherein, for no real good reason, he draws his logo in gasoline and lights it on fire. So
Oh, yeah.
we all know that period of time.
Well, he
in
did
I
comic
definitely
book
did that as a
movies.
kid
did it with-
also,
He
which
did it
was
with
awesome.
cars.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. It was
Yeah.
Cars. Yeah. So anyway, that happened. This was supposed to be the sequel.
Yeah.
And Thomas Jane, when he finally got the script, was like, this is a little bit too comic booky. I really wanted this to be more grounded. And so he left the project, and they got Ray Stevenson. Dominic West, originally the person who read for Jigsaw was Freddie Prinze Jr. And Lexi, the director, was very excited, thought he tested really well, and wanted him, but the studio was like, no, for whatever reason. So
Well, he's a little tight.
I would have paid double the money
to see Freddie
to
Prinze.
see Freddie Prinze Jr.
Junior?
be Jigsaw.
Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Double. You know what? Probably would have been a more subdued performance.
Yeah. So let's go around.
Yeah.
How many skulls out of 5? Let's just start right off the top. How many skulls out of 5, Len, would you give Punisher Warzone?
Baseline is 3.
And then we'll get into specifics.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, if by skull you mean actually just like unskinned skull,
Yeah, yeah.
Punisher
Yeah,
skull.
yeah.
then I would give this a fully skinned afroed head.
Because you loved it?
No.
Oh, I guess I wasn't picking
Yeah,
up
you're
what you put
unclear on
down.
how
Yeah,
is
yeah.
one the best.
Oh, I see.
Right.
One is bad.
Oh, okay, right.
So how many? I'm sorry, one.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Even a whole skull.
No.
not even a skull.
It gets a tooth.
It's a living head.
It gets one of Randy's teeth.
One of the teeth that
They laughed out of his face.
Out of 4 or out of 5?
Out of 5.
Out of 5, 3.
3 out of 5.
3 skulls.
Ran.
2.5.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Wow.
It was so amazingly bad that it was like, all right, I can watch this. Holy crap!
Was
What
not
is
bored
happening?
watching it. Mm-mm.
Brian.
It's not more than one. Let's see.
You can only use 0.25 decimals.
Yeah.
Okay.
One household.
There was, yes, not even human.
yeah.
Just whatever was on an Old West set. No, there were a couple of things that I thought were very well done in this movie, and I hesitate to give it 0 skulls because of that. So that's what I'll do. Yeah.
I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to give Ray Stevenson 4 out of 5 skulls.
No, that is cheating. How many for the movie?
It's a lot of cheating.
But the movie's
Yeah.
like 1.5.
There you go.
So it's 2.5.
So
The average of that is 2.5.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2. I'm going to 2. I can't go over 2. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No.
I will say that watching it again today, there were bits that I had a smile on my face because of how ridiculous it is.
Oh God, yeah.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, lots of that.
Like I was just grinning, like, what? What is happening?
Dominic
I mean,
West was so over the top.
The accent work in this entire movie
Yep.
is amazing. Just amazing. I'm talking the Jamaican parkour team and all of-
Jamaican with an Irish
were they
accent.
Irish?
Irish
Oh,
Jamaican.
yeah.
That was
Oh, my
Irish
God.
Jamaican.
and the every air quotes Italian. I think all the Italians were British,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was all like
It's like
Queens
watching
by
Gods
way
of
of
Egypt,
Mario.
like, what?
Mario. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really weird. Yeah, it was like watching Gods of Egypt. Everyone's, yeah, they're all Italian. Just blur your eyes. All the accents were great, and Ray Stevenson did incredibly well because he spoke like 3 times.
Yeah, pretty much. But the thing you do have to, be cognizant of is that this movie, as over the top as it is, it's because it is based on not just the character of the Punisher. It's based on a story of the Punisher by Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon.
No.
No?
This story doesn't come from any comic book. I would say the vibes of it. are from that.
They took like direct scenes and
Yeah.
then just made their own thing.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Like there are literally like direct panels that you could like.
from like that whole storyline. So maybe
Yeah.
they changed it up a little bit, but
Okay.
it's
Lexi
based.
Alexander literally used like Steve Dillon panels.
No, I
as-
understand that, but it's the story is not from a Punisher comic.
No,
This
they pulled a
story-
bunch of stuff specifically from the Garth Ennis, Steve
Yeah,
Dillon run,
right.
like the microchip, the detective soap,
elements.
the jigsaw. Like but they just mashed it all together from that specific run. So yeah, it's
and
an
even
adaptation
if it's not the story, the style and the vibe, like you said, the vibe of that story, because that story is still like hyped up. It's like it's Punisher on creatine. It's like insane.
Yeah.
And that's what this freaking movie is.
Yeah.
And there's a part of it, like when I turned on this movie, I was like, oh my God. Like
How far did you get before you were like?
before
oh,
I
no.
text y'all, I was like, do we
Yeah.
have to watch the whole thing?
Yeah.
I was 10 minutes in.
Ah.
He hadn't even talked yet.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
Did you finish
How
it?
long did we say? 26 minutes.
26 minutes and 2 seconds.
Before you
I
said the
got
word?
I got to the point where he's hanging upside down on a chandelier.
That's 10
That's
minutes.
that's in the
Yeah.
10-minute mark.
Somehow just spinning
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
based on nothing. He's just spinning around, shooting
Right.
everybody with
It's one of
machine
those
guns.
spinning, those rotating
Yeah, yeah,
chandeliers.
you could do that with momentum.
Like a motor has. I assumed a motor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Disco
I
chandelier.
think this movie is a perfect example of how terribly direct adaptations can be. Like,
Yes.
comic books are comic books. Movies and TV are movies and TV. Slavishly adapting them tone-wise or story-wise, I think it's the same thing, doesn't always translate.
It doesn't
Oh,
always
absolutely.
because
Because
we see
this
it
is-
work.
This is very true to that specific era of comics in feel, in names, in tone, in specific types of violence. All of it is very, very pulled directly from the comic, and it's like it worked in a comic. Like it works in a comic when he punches someone through their face. In a movie, it's fucking stupid, and it's great.
He had like Jason Voorhees strength.
That's what I
I
mean.
was
Like,
surprised when it happened.
and
I was like, did he go all the way through
Yeah,
the head?
he
Now, it
punched-
didn't really bother me,
No.
but I was surprised.
I remember the discourse at the time.
So was the other guy.
Yeah.
Discourse at the time was actually that whole sequence I think is phenomenal. But discourse at the time was like, oh, he was a coke addict, so he like it was.
So his head explodes.
Well, no, it's like
So the membranes in his nose.
Yeah.
were
he has
weakened.
no
Yeah.
cartilage,
Right.
like
Or-
literally
Yeah.
no cartilage and shit. So like he was able
Yeah.
to punch it. But either way, that's not the best part of the scene. The best part of the scene is like 2 seconds later when they get the bad guy and sit him down, and he's like, "You're coming with me," and Frank literally just shoots his face off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the response of the cop was just like an exasperated sitcom style. Frank,
Ah,
And
Frank.
I'm like,
Yeah.
this fucking movie is great. Like, it's
forgot
so
about that.
I went and saw this in the theater with my dad, and both of us were alone in the theater on opening weekend. Didn't really make any money. Belly laughing.
Yeah.
Because this movie came out in 2008, but I think it was like actually made in 1988.
It certainly has that vibe.
It is. Yeah,
Good, no,
it's,
good.
it's wild. This movie's fucking wild, and I kind of appreciate a swing.
The thing is though, and I just looked it up to make sure that I was right. This movie was made after the Sin City movie, which
Yeah.
is a direct
Hmm.
adaptation that works.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
and which means that I believe it probably was also after 300, which was
Hmm.
more or less a direct adaptation.
And there were
Yeah,
like comic
that-
panels in the 300.
On
too,
the
and Sin
DVD
City.
that I put on today, there is an ad for The Spirit.
Which
So-
is one that
Yeah.
did not work.
This did come after 300. 300 was 2006,
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it was after. That's what I was saying.
Yeah. So,
which is very fine.
which means that they're probably thinking, okay, then there's a winning formula. There's a track record.
Yeah, this has worked before.
Yes.
It'll work
And-
with the Punisher.
Well, if you remember the Tom Jane,
Yeah.
also very heavily pulled
Very
from
heavily
the Garth
from-
Ennis,
yeah, that
Steve
was-
Dillon Punisher. You've got
Yeah.
the Russian with the striped shirt
Yeah,
on.
he's in that.
Yeah. You got
what's it-
Spacker Dave.
Spacker Dave.
Spacker
yeah,
Dave.
Dave.
I think the biggest sin that movie
Love
made
Spacker Dave.
was
What does that even mean?
it literally. They didn't even shoot Tampa for New York. It just took
Yeah.
place in Tampa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
The-
true.
The Thomas Jane one.
Yeah.
Literally nothing is urban or dangerous about the Bay Area. Like it just like there's no mafia in the Bay Area. There's no like it was such a weird movie. It's like I'm trying to think like it's like
certainly
putting
not a-
Spider-Man
no, like Italian
in the
mafia.
Midwest.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
literally was it was so fucking off from
Yeah.
jump. I couldn't handle it.
Which one was it? Was it the Thomas Jane one where he was pretending to burn the guy?
Oh,
yeah,
that was
with-
great. That was a
that's-
great scene.
That was the one that
directly
great.
from the
Yeah, I
comic
remember
book.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the guy trussed up and he's hanging from chains, and he's got his shirt off, and he's there with goggles and a blowtorch.
Yeah.
And the guy is conscious, and he's watching him like set up this blowtorch and everything. And he, and Frank's there talking about burning meat and how you won't really feel pain because it's sort of not until it gets to your nerves and blah blah blah. And he's doing a whole thing, and then he goes to get him, and he just has a popsicle that he's just rubbing up and down his back, and the guy's
Back.
screaming like he's being burned alive.
He was like, "It's so
Yeah.
cold, and it's so hot, and it feels cold."
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
goofy like that.
I like this movie is not perfect at all, but I feel like the director and the writers and everyone working on it like understood what they were doing.
I do too.
It just only
Well-
made it 75% the way there, and it was just received incredibly poorly.
You were
Right.
telling us about, and I don't know if it was on air or not. Apologies, but you were mentioning another podcast. How did this get made?
Yeah,
Where they actually had Lexi Alexander, the director, on, and she was telling all sorts of. It's an excellent episode of the podcast, and she was telling a lot of interesting stories. One of which was that Dominic West, like was like, "Are you sure?" And she'd be like, "No, more. Give it more. Get
Yeah.
higher. You need you higher. Like you need to
was-
really amp it up." And he's like, "It feels like too much." And she's like, "No, more." So like she would actually get kickback from the actors being like, "I don't know if this is the right decision to make here."
Yeah, the
but she was
studio.
like, "No, maybe
It
more."
would worry me as an actor, right? Because then you're like, I look like the idiot
Yeah.
that thinks
Yeah.
this was a good
Well,
way to go.
and also too, like the studio, like according to her, I had listened to it a long time ago. Like she would show them panels from the comic books that were fucking ridiculous in real world physics,
Yeah.
and she'd get buy-in. Like, yeah, go for it. Let's go. Let's do it.
Do it. Yeah.
Like
That's
everyone was on board
That's
Because
during
in their
this.
mind, they're seeing Sin City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, this has rewatch value for me. It's just so ridiculous and time and place.
Well, I'll tell you though, like none of that was an issue for me at all. Like the comic bookiness of it was fine. It was unexpected in some cases because you're like, oh, these are real people doing these things, and that is surprising. None of the problems that I had with this movie were based on that
Okay.
at all.
Give us what you got.
I will. I have a list.
Oh,
my
shit.
God.
Yeah, I felt compelled to write these things down while watching this movie. But first of all, Ray Stevenson, sorry, delivered a nuanced and excellent portrayal. I thought he was great in this movie, right? There was a lot of emotion. His conflictedness really came across very well. And I thought he, and to an extent, some of the other people who played good guys were good, but he was excellent. They had an impressively comics type costume for this era.
Oh,
of
the costume
movies,
was
right?
awesome.
And you
I
had
even
the
liked
skull
his
there.
collar and everything.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
The
that
skull
collar
was
was
not
hot.
solid white like it might be now,
Yeah.
but it was cool and it was there. And it was a nice small story for the most part. Like there was that thing about the whole city's in danger, but the Punisher didn't even deal with that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really that big of a thing.
Mhm.
And it's something that I've thought would be excellent for like a Batman movie or many other movies where it's like the whole world does not have to be in danger. This is a good story. It's a smaller story, right? And I have a much longer list
Okay.
of things that I thought would upset me.
Give us the top two.
I will. No, there's going to be more than that, but
buckle in,
it's
everyone.
fun.
It's 9:15. Yeah.
Some of these are fun things, but seriously, the whole message, the philosophy of this movie was abhorrent, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's the Punisher.
yeah.
More guns.
Well, no, the like, man, cops could get their stuff done if they're not for all these rules, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, right.
Dylan's back there cackling.
That's why
Now-
the Punisher doesn't work anymore.
No,
Yeah.
right? Well, I mean, he never was one of my favorites. So that's the thing I mentioned in the chat. As a superhero character, he kills people. He has guns. He doesn't have any powers. He is nothing that I want to read about in the comics.
But
Right?
to be fair, I don't think anyone considers him a
No.
superhero.
Well, he's in with.
He is a
them.
vigilante anti-hero, right?
Yeah, I feel the way
at
about
best.
Frank Castle that the other heroes of the Marvel universe feel about
Yeah,
Frank Castle,
yeah.
right? So, which is fine, right? But I
Understandable.
never wanted anything. I don't know that I've ever read a Punisher comic. I can enjoy that stuff a little more now as I've gotten older. And when I was younger, it was much more hardline. But I have none of those problems with action movie heroes,
Yeah.
right? It's just a different thing that I'm looking for, right? So I went into this with an open mind, but I really did not like that message up to and including the final scene where the guy the cop who is with him but is like
Soap.
ostracized.
Yeah, Detective Soap.
Who he refers to as Soap out of nowhere.
His name is Soap.
That's his name.
That's
Detective
his
Soap.
actual name?
Yeah,
Detective Soap.
Last
All right, that's fine then. I thought it was a nickname. He's like ostracized from the rest of the force who likes the Punisher because he's going after the Punisher, but he's actually helping the Punisher. Whatever. But he, at the end, there's a sign that says Jesus saves.
Yeah.
And Soap is walking away and he says, I really don't like the death penalty. I guess he doesn't like it. And he doesn't like it. And then this mugger comes up.
Yeah.
Right? Well, the Jesus saves sign, Jesus winks out, saves, and the skull are the last things you see on screen as the Punisher kills the mugger,
Off screen, yeah.
right? Driving home the message
Yeah.
that is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
The death penalty is good and should be taken into one's own hands.
Yeah.
If you're a vigilante. And also, so he's got this problem having killed an FBI agent, right?
Yeah.
excellent character
But,
work. He
really
should not
cool.
have
I
done
thought that was great.
right?
Yeah, like, oh shit, I
Right.
killed an undercover guy.
Really interesting idea,
Yeah.
and completely let off the hook at the end of the movie by
his
the
wife.
who's
Yeah.
like, you know what? We talked about you. We argued about you. He said you were a good guy.
Yeah.
And if Frank Castle had said, I'm not,
Yeah, I was expecting
I
that.
would have liked this movie
Yeah.
way more.
Yeah.
But he's like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
You
He
know?
like
Yeah.
high fives her.
Yeah.
Word.
Cool.
What are you doing later?
Yeah,
Can I call
I
you
really
Maria?
expected that. I really thought that might happen.
Yeah. I actually said out loud as I was watching because I thought
Right.
for sure he was going to say, I'm not.
Right.
I'm not a good guy.
Right.
You know? And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, you're not going to say that? Okay, cool.
He didn't say it. He didn't say it.
Cool. Karaoke later?
Yeah.
Did you forget your line, Frank?
Right. Also, this is one of those safes that go into the thousands because the combination, I believe, is like 10, 20, 1965.
Of what? Sorry, say again?
The combination safe,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
or there's 4 numbers.
Mhm.
Also, that villain. Oh my God,
Jigsaw?
James. No,
Oh,
Jigsaw.
what's his
See,
name?
but I did think about right.
Looney Bin Jim.
No, he
Jim.
wants to be called James. Jigsaw chooses to be called Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Although he does go around eating people, but you should still. His name is James. But
Oh yeah, it's real. It's real mental health forward. By,
right, and also it is just a
By not calling him Looney
barrage
Bin, yeah.
of nonsense lines
Yeah.
and jumping around
Yeah.
and like just
the worst
not
body
great.
double ever. But
Yes.
I truly enjoyed the scene where he broke all the mirrors for his brother.
Yeah,
I actually thought that was
Yeah.
kind of
I thought
as a
that was-
character moment.
yeah.
I actually thought that was
Yeah,
kinda
that was
cool.
cool. It was a
As
cool
long
thing
as
for
I'm
him to
here,
do.
you'll never have to look into
Yeah.
at your reflection ever again. And then just like starts throwing himself into mirrors.
I like that better in Conan the Destroyer myself. But
Truth.
Oh, that recruitment scene. Oh,
oh God, I forgot about that.
The flag, the American flag's
that
in
is
the
being
background.
projected there, and then he's
Yeah.
walking around, and he's got his outfit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He gets more flamboyant
As he goes.
As it goes.
Call
Also,
me Jigsaw.
Can you schedule explosion permits day of by calling them in? Is that something that can be done?
I appreciate the absolutely stupid plot armor. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're gonna be blowing this building up. All right, take it easy.
Hey, don't worry about it.
As just a police officer can do this. Right. No, an FBI agent doesn't even work with the city.
I think whether or not you're in tune with this movie is perfectly summed up in one scene
Mm-hmm.
where we have the Jamaican Irish parkour gang
Can I take the roof?
instead of the door, and they go
They came through.
they're on the roof and they're just going from rooftop to rooftop doing parkour for absolutely no reason. And the first guy goes and he makes it, and he's waiting for the next guy to go, and the guy does a fucking I don't know, triple somersault, whatever. And Frank shoots him with a bazooka in midair, and he explodes.
Hold on.
Yes,
Paint
that
the
was
picture.
that was cool.
So it's a wide shot of both rooftops, and the men are jumping across it. He does a side flip.
I believe it's a triple Lindy.
He does a side flip from one roof to the other, and it stays on frame, doesn't cut away. And then from bottom left of the frame, you see a missile, and then hit him and explode. And then it's a punchline reveal of Frank with smoke coming out of a cannon,
Yeah.
which is fucking Bugs Bunny.
Yeah,
Awesome.
It was.
Yeah.
That part was cool. I did like that.
It was 50 minutes and 8 seconds. That was when I fell in love with this movie.
Yeah, see, but if I want that type of, because you said it right there, it's the Bug Bunny of the violence. But if I want Bugs Bunny violence, I look at a great slept-on movie called Shoot 'Em Up.
Yes, I was.
Oh, he
hoping
hates
you
that
were
I
gonna say
hate
that.
Shoot 'Em Up.
Yeah.
Oh my
Which
God.
is
It's
literally
too much.
Bugs Bunny versus the Elmer Fudd.
Yeah.
I love
That's
that
too
movie.
much.
Yeah, it was
he
just too
hates
much
that
for me.
movie.
Oh my God.
I was really excited for it, and I went and saw it, and I was like, everything is cranked up to 15 so
Yeah.
much that it's nothing to me. Like, it's just a cacophony of nothing.
It was I am in the middle of you two. I did enjoy it, but it was all peaks, no valleys, and then
I
just
hear you
became
that.
noise.
I hear
it's
you
just-
that.
it
Whereas this one at
starts
least goes up and down.
Yeah.
It starts
Maybe-
and keeps going, and Paul Giamatti is so over the top. Monica Bellucci looks amazing.
Monica
Monica
Bellucci.
Bellucci's in that movie? I
Yes.
forgot.
Oh,
God.
Razzle,
Clive, who is
frazzle.
it? Clive, not
Clive Owen?
Clive
Oh,
Owens
God,
and Monica
so
Bellucci
over the top.
have a sex
Oh,
shoot 'em up
Yes.
scene.
I remember this.
It is one of the best scenes
Oh my
in
God.
movie history.
That movie is
Thank you,
insane.
Terry.
Thank you, Terry.
Randy's got to get on the mic. Also, Eddie's joining us. He says, I'm more partial to Thomas Jane. I concur, Eddie.
The
Thank
actor,
you.
sure.
But you're
Terrible
Expanse.
movie.
The Expanse was
Well, you're more partial
Also
to
Arrested
that
Development.
movie, and maybe you're more partial to that actor. But the reason why we watched this movie was because of Ray Stevenson.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I appreciated his work in this. I do push back on you saying that this may be, and I think you were saying that tongue in cheek, his most recognized role.
Yeah.
It's tongue in cheek.
Because I think that his most recognized role is as Titus Polo
Titus Polo
in Rome. But
I've
I'm
never
sure-
seen it.
Mm.
But I'm sure more people recognize him from the Thor movies
Yeah.
as
As
Volstagg.
Volstagg.
Volstagg, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Titus Polo. What was the other guy's name?
Oh, I can't remember. But it's Kevin McKidd. Is
Kevin McKidd and Ray Stevenson together on this show. They were. Oh,
They are
man.
basically the audience's surrogates into Roman history in that movie, in that series.
Yeah.
Which it was a fantastic series. The
Great show.
second season, I think it's either the second or because I think
They only went 2 seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, the second season they got truncated big time because it got canceled
Yeah.
midway,
Oh.
and they had to like
Wrap it up. Real
wrap
quick,
it up
yeah.
real quick. But it was a phenomenal series, and Ray Stevenson was
on point.
Yeah?
on
He
point
was
from
on
beginning
point,
to
dude.
end.
Oh, man.
HBO?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Max.
it was.
It's called
Oh,
Max.
it's now Max.
It's streaming on Max
Yes,
now.
get it right.
I'm sorry,
Get
you
your
guys.
streamer right.
Oh, maybe I'll check
Somewhere,
it out.
somewhere, the people of Cinemax are like, huh?
Yeah.
And
You wanna
because
be
it
called
is,
Max.
and because it is like the story, the first season is basically the story of Julius Caesar. But because it is set in Rome, it is still very like it doesn't look aged at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
Kinda like
HBO,
Quantum
so
Leap.
it's high quality.
Yeah, it's
unlike
really
Quantum
good.
Leap.
Nice.
No, but it's
really
similar.
good.
Like it's set. It's exactly as it's supposed to be.
Right.
Because it's yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
Did anyone else notice when James was axing that guy?
Yeah.
And he said, "I'm going to ask you a question," and then he said, "Ask."
Yes.
The next
I'm
time.
gonna ask again.
Why didn't he say axe?
Yeah. What an idiot.
He hit him with an axe the second time.
And also
Um,
the amount of blood, like 'cause you don't see the axe enter the victim,
you don't.
but you
One of
do
the few
see a
times.
giant CGI splurt of blood happen. And then the guy, you later find out, he's just like, "Oh, I'm still hanging on." I'm like,
Yeah.
"You're out of blood.
He seemed.
You ran out of blood an hour ago.
That was when Frank had occasion to say, "Don't die on me."
Don't die on me."
In this day and age.
Yeah.
On film. Like.
Maybe he didn't know he was being recorded.
Oh, probably not.
Yo, I love how upset this movie made you. I've never seen you this amped about a movie.
This is why he doesn't watch movies.
Yeah, right.
He just
I
gets so
I wanna
upset.
continue liking
upset
movies.
this movie made you, dude. Holy
Ah,
shit.
it's so bad.
For the first while, I was like, all right, I'm kind of getting into it. And then it just, boom. I was
Ah,
like, this could go either way. And it went that way.
yeah.
So, told you it was worth watching.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
Oh, yeah.
For this conversation alone.
Just
it's
for
worth
that, yeah,
watching.
for
It's
sure.
fun. And who's your favorite Punisher? We've got like 5 or 6 at this
I think
point,
it's
right?
Barenthal, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say Baron.
What are the, I think this is the only one I've seen. What,
Oh.
You didn't watch the Netflix series?
He
no,
hates
I
the
never
character.
got to it, and I
Yeah.
really
Me
should.
neither.
I
Dolph
need to
Dolph
before the-
Lundgren,
Yes, I'm aware of that. Didn't see that one.
Ray Stevenson,
Yes,
Thomas Jane,
Didn't see it.
and John Barenthal.
When was that?
Well, that was the Netflix series.
Oh,
Daredevil
Right. I heard he
and-
was really good.
He was
Yes.
awesome.
I do want to get to that.
Did you
but-
watch any of the Netflix series?
No, I never did.
Oh,
I think I
Daredevil
was
was
like
so good.
graduating from something at the,
The first
time.
season, the
and
first
I
season
just
of
kept putting it off.
the first season of Alias has or Jessica Jones.
I know, David Tennant.
Tennant.
I want to see that one
That-
too. I want to see them all.
Yeah.
But I haven't. I should have.
Any
Especially before
final-
the new Daredevil.
Let's wrap it up. Any final words?
Wait, what was your favorite Punisher?
Oh, wait, I said John Barenthal.
Oh, all right, cool.
Sorry.
Are we all just Barenthal? Barenthal?
Barenthal. 3,
I'm
4
stuck
Barenthals.
on Thomas Jane.
Thomas Jane.
Alright.
There's something about that movie that I was just like, why do I like this movie?
I think
Yeah.
so much? It's
he's
so
the only
ridiculous.
reason to like that movie.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
he was
He's so
fantastic
good,
in that.
yeah.
Right.
So
Hate
good in
everybody
that.
else.
And I've only
It's
watched like, the first
PG-13
episode.
also.
Remember that time where
Yeah.
instead of like murdering people, he was like, I'm gonna lug around a
The fire
a
hydrant.
fire hydrant to make you get a parking ticket so
That
that
was so
when
great, dude.
your husband finds the parking ticket, he'll think that you're having an affair with his second in command, and then he'll have you killed, and then that's how I get my revenge. Motherfucker just shoots people.
There was
Yeah,
so
he doesn't
much
do
going
all
on
the
with
fucking
your
cat and
man.
mouse
Not much of a
games.
plan.
I did appreciate that this movie was nowhere near an origin, and it's like old man
Yeah.
Frank.
Old man Frank.
Like
Old man
when
Frank.
they're in the records room, he's just like, "Where's the Punisher files?" He's just like,
That's true.
It's
There were a
the
lot of
entire
files.
room.
Yeah.
he's been here. He's been
Yeah.
doing this for
5
15,
years.
20
5
years.
years.
Was it 5?
It's 5
Yeah,
years.
he
Yeah,
said
that
5
did
years.
seem like a lot.
For 5
5
years.
years.
It's a lot for
Murder.
5
Yeah.
years.
It's a lot of mobsters.
He does
I
kill a
would
lot
have
of
gone
people,
with maybe
yes,
10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
As we're wrapping up, Eddie has one last question. It is completely unrelated, just so we know. Are you guys excited to go see the Little Mermaid remake? Anybody feeling that?
I haven't really watched any of the
Movies.
live action. Yeah.
I watched
Live action or animated movies.
I'm not really into filmed
of the
entertainment.
last 40
Movies.
years.
Everyone, show your shock face.
No, I think I saw one or two of them. It was somebody else's choice. I thought they were fine,
Yeah.
but I haven't gone to see them. I love the original Little Mermaid,
Yeah.
and I'm open to this one being awesome, but
I have no interest. I saw Aladdin.
Yeah.
And that was as far as I got with the remakes. Oh, no. I lied.
Jungle
I
Book?
actually quite love Mulan.
I didn't
I
watch Mulan.
really like Mulan a lot.
I liked. I loved the Jungle Book.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
That's
good.
the
one?
only- That's
Yeah.
the only one I really loved.
You only like Mulan.
I will
You-
answer Eddie's.
Yeah.
I'll answer
So
Eddie's
woke.
question this way. I'm missing a screening of it to do the show.
Oh, thank you. Well,
if you really
thank
wanted
you.
to see, you would go to the
Yeah,
screening.
yeah,
Yeah.
you would have
Yes.
been there.
I'm curious. I really want to see Halle Bailey.
I will
So-
go to it.
So
though,
the thing about it
yes.
is like when they have like actually talented singers
Mhm.
in these movies and not just actors that kind of know how to sing, I'm interested. I also saw a clip of Melissa McCarthy doing
Not Melissa,
Ursula.
doing Ursula, but like the Poor Unfortunate
Oh,
Souls. There's
okay,
a clip
okay.
of it, and it looked kind of dope.
Hmm.
Everything else I've seen in the movie looks so dreary and boring.
Yeah.
So I don't
know.
know.
I'm
Listen,
not interested.
we all know that there's no black mermaids, so I'm
They,
not
they
gonna
can't
refuse
even.
it.
The sun doesn't even get down there.
How do they?
have they never seen orca
Go woke,
whales?
go
Like, I
broke.
saw that too, and I'm
Yeah.
like, even your stupid reasoning is wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that the only live action Disney movies that I've enjoyed, which is like 2 of them, are ones that were at least different, slightly
Yeah.
different. Every other one has been just let's remove the magic
Yeah.
and make it dreary looking and
Yeah.
sepia toned bullshit. Like I did like Aladdin because it had it was
Magical.
actually different and it was still colorful, and Mulan because they decided to make a different movie based on
Yeah.
the show, so on the other one, so they were different. Everything else has just been like a facsimile of the same thing. Like Lion King was awful.
Lion King, I did not like. I did not like it.
It was like a nature documentary.
Yeah.
You can't really get those lions to emote correctly.
But like
Well,
I,
I mean,
say,
they took out all color and all magic and all dancing. It was just
I
like
would
watching
s-
animals fight each other.
The
I'm
thing
like,
that
this
always
is
confused me
not
ever
fun.
since the first one they did was instead of doing the live action version, do another animated version, but feel free to do
Change the
something
style.
along the lines of like Pixar or the Spider-Verse, the Sony.
do a different style.
Do a
Okay.
different
Animated
animated style. So you still get the fun, but you're still maybe potentially capturing the heart and minds of the new generation who's more interested in watching that than 2D drawn animation, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think that's you. I agree with you. But why can't that be a live action alternative? I think that they need to just creatively do something as opposed to just a live action facsimile of of the same cartoon. Like, go wild. Remake everything. Remake
Well, they are.
everything.
Yo, yeah,
Hold
nothing's
on.
precious.
Hold on. Nothing is precious. Just make it good. Make it different. Give me a new reason to go this one also.
Personally,
That's it.
I think Will killed it.
I told Aladdin
Yeah.
I enjoyed. I enjoyed.
Killed that. And I honestly,
I thought
still
he
don't think he got
did-
the credit he deserved.
I thought he did the best he could do following up.
Following, yeah.
He's
Yeah.
following
Yeah.
the legendary.
But it-
performance.
That's
but
the
it
legendary
actually-
performance.
it actually
I think
felt
he did
like a
really good
different
job.
character,
Yeah, it was a
too.
different character. Yeah.
Like it was.
I think he did a good
It was
I
a
think he did
different movie. I
fantastic
enjoyed
job.
it.
but
Well, but I will still cape for the Jungle Book because while as much of it was the same story, it did have a different feel
Oh, okay.
to
Yeah.
it. You know, even though when it does go into song, you're like, wait a minute, what happened?
Is-
How are these
yeah,
animals
weird.
But
doing
it
this?
works. It
Yeah.
actually works
Oh,
because
okay.
it comes out of the blue in it.
All right.
And it does feel different.
You have been saying that for a while. I keep meaning to get to it. And I just
It's
haven't.
really good. It's one of the only ones I've seen, and I think one of the cool things about it was just that one's very about the animals, you know,
Yes.
and just seeing them look like real animals was itself cool. Especially King Louie, who was based on this like actual extinct giant ape, was pretty cool. But also with that,
Walken as King Louie.
oh yeah, it was
Oh,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah,
Fine.
please.
Such a good bad rendition of that song.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's what I mean. It was like
Right.
good, but he was so bad.
Shout
at
out to that kid playing Mowgli, like the only person in the room.
I
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
right?
Because we do keep calling these live action, and that is very
Yeah,
far from
just
the
have
truth.
them-
That's true.
Have
Yeah.
to act it.
It looks
to-
that way,
it.
though.
Photorealistic.
Yeah.
Chris Dunn says, "Ooh, missed opportunity for Deep Sea Little Mermaid remake, where all the fish are the deep sea giant fanged ones that glow in the dark."
And
I said fanged.
Fanged.
Dang it.
Befanged.
Dang it, I said fanged. All right. Let's get the hell out of here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Brian, where can they find you?
I'm at BrianLeibDesign.com.
No.
Oh, I'm every Wednesday morning recording a podcast with this loser called Fresh Floppies, where we do spoiler-free reviews of the comic books that come out today on your shelf. So listen to it on your way to the shop, or just listen to it if you're out of touch with comic books in general. It's an accessible show.
I've been told that it's quite good. Charles wanted
said
us
that?
to know that he loves the show and that we all sound professional, and it is a delightful listen. Randy, where can they find you?
Hit me up, boombaptherapy.com. Anything with Gangsta Grass and the internet, you'll find me there, and you'll find me hanging out with this little knucklehead.
He loves to receive emojis, so
me
just
all
send
the
him
emojis.
lots of emojis. Len,
Let's have middle fingers, right? That's the took
Yes.
away of the story.
Gorilla, middle finger.
Gorilla, middle finger. You can find me right here at the Video Content Factory every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, where I stream my podcast, The Michaud Mission, 2 Men, 1 Podcast, every black film ever made. Go to MichaudMission.com or wherever you find podcasts.
all right, come to Hero Complex, buy my goddamn comics, and we're going to have a chat. It'll be delightful. We'll high five, maybe have a hug. We'll talk at you later. Thanks for hanging out.
God damn!